What began as an empty industrial unit in South London has turned into this, my most ambitious and satisfying desk setup to date. In fact, it's much more than that. A custom designed creative studio office, meaning working from home has now shifted to becoming a home from home. Hi, it's Simon. This is Better Creating, and in this video, I'll give you a tour of my new workspace, share some of the design and build process, and show you my favourite creative tech, tools and accessories that make this place work. It took a whole year to get here, from finding the space, to testing layouts and designs on the iPad, through to turning a cold and bland unit into a warm, modern and minimal studio office. I've divided the tour into 3 key sections: design and build, so my workspace layout for creative work, my desk setup for productivity, and the finishing touches, my favourite tools and accessories that really make a space like this work. I hope it gives you some inspiration for your own workspace or desk setup, and perhaps you'll even find a few pieces of well-designed tech or tools you'd like to add to your own setup along the way. The studio is situated in South London, UK, about 10 minutes drive or 25 minutes walk from our little apartment. It's a new set of artistic spaces built in a repurposed old lawn bowls club. Pretty British. I've rented a 240 square foot unit, and since I couldn't afford one of their larger units with windows, and for the fact that I spend a lot of time filming, I went for this space for my first office for the channel. Maybe in the future I'll move to a larger space with natural light, but for now, with the right design, it's going to work great. When I started making videos around 3 years ago, I never expected it to turn into a solo business like it has. So, to keep a little separation from home life, I realised I needed a separate space where I can create content, manage my digital product business, and dream up new creative ideas with partners. After measuring up the unit and putting down my deposit, I started dreaming how to best use the space. I did this using an amazingly powerful little iPad app called Live Home 3D. Check it out if you have plans to redesign one of your own rooms. With a little time, it's a super useful visualization tool you can master with no experience. My aims for the new space were as follows. It should be a flexible, zoned, home from home workspace that can grow with me. It should work equally well as an office space and as a filming studio. It should use a focused palette of materials and colours with a calm and focusing mood. And it should be easy to rig a permanent creative sound and video setup to make making content frictionless. I decided to blend 2 different vibes at either end of the space. A kind of dark mode and a light mode, if you like. So dark mode was to be the lowest end of the room to create a better backdrop for filming these A-roll shots. Much easier to colour grade as well against my super light skin tones. Look, it looks quite good. And then a light mode where I spend most of the day working at my desk, meaning I can leave my door open to say hi to other people at the units. More on the desk setup in the next section. At the highest end of the room, light mode, I'll add some curtains for privacy and added soundproofing, and I'll position my desk next to the door to maximise the rest of the space, but also to be able to look out the corridor window and use the desk as a backdrop when I'm filming at times as well. At the other end of the room, dark mode, I've designed a low row of cupboards for storing of products and tech that I'm sent through to test. I love the idea that the storage can also become a place to put a coffee station and be a display area to create a backdrop for filming. I'll put a second task table in front of it so I have a clean worktop to work from and film from when I'm not at my desk. Putting the table on wheels will also allow me to reconfigure the space for interviews, say, or turn it into a hot desk for friends or collaborators. Finally, I'll keep one side of the space for keeping filming tools, a whiteboard for planning, and a place to keep my bag and coat. The other side, I'll cover in some white oak wood panelling to add both warmth, visual interest, and some essential acoustic dampening and soundproofing for the room. As I build the studio out, I'll probably test lighting and sound setups that can be flexible and quick and easy to use, whilst not taking over the space when I want to be in office mode. Because there is no natural light from the windows, it's easy to get a blackout for filming, but in future I might look at turning a couple of old frames I've found into light boxes that could resemble frosted roof lights. And I will of course add plants and greenery for visual interest and a sense of calm and well-being in the room to break up the space. With the design set, I set to work over the next months. Here's what I installed. I ordered a large grey rug to offer some sound dampening and a more welcoming vibe for working here each day. We painted the small wall at the end of the room black to give a focused backdrop for filming and created a focal point to the room. The storage units I went for, after a lot of research, were a pair of Bester cabinets in black brown from IKEA and reach across the width of the space, but also leave room at either end for a light stand or as I decided at one end, a large tree, also from IKEA, to freshen things up. I originally added matching black-brown doors, but realised they were actually just very brown and felt wrong. So I returned them and added these grey doors instead. I think they match the aesthetic much better. I later added black glass tops to the units, but decided to leave off the legs for a cleaner and lower profile look in the room. I found some black sticky plastic to cover up those white plastic cable units that go around the outside of the room, and I'm still messing around with a wooden backdrop to cover the centre of that section of the wall. Perhaps it will also offer space for some hidden lighting options too. For the task table, I've also gone to IKEA and added this 140cm grey tabletop and wheeled legs to move it easily. Putting everything on wheels is a really great idea in a workspace, and I put these items together using one of my favourite office tools of the year actually, this little electric screwdriver from Hotto Tools. It's perfect for things like IKEA furniture, but on a low power setting, it also is great for messing with mechanical keyboards. Hotto also sent me their large toolkit and laser measurer to try out, and I have to say they are one of my favourite pieces of functional design I've seen in a long time. I'll cover more about these along with some of my other accessories and finishing touches at the end of the video. Like any good design, I wanted to put things into the space that have both great form and function, and one of the big challenges in this room was how to block out unwanted sound from neighbouring units, but also how to dampen the acoustics for filming because it was really pingy in here. I discovered these acoustic panels from the wood veneer hub and they seemed like the perfect solution. So I reached out and amazingly, they've actually supported the build, so thank you. I enlisted the help of a carpenter friend with a workshop in one of the units downstairs to do the rather complex cuts, but since I didn't want to drill a ton of holes in the wall due to it being a rented unit, we came up with a really great solution for attaching these. We clamped wooden beams to the metalwork, and then unbelievably, using Velcro, we could then attach the panels. So I also had the problem of the plastic cable management trunking around the centre of the room, and the Velcro was perfect for mounting. It's worked brilliantly, I love the look, and wow, the feel and sound quality in this room has been absolutely transformed. Now if you like the look of these and want to attach them to a standard wall, that is really super easy. You can just screw directly through the felt backing into the wall. The panels also allowed me to hide my wiring for the desk and my little coffee station at either end, and offer a great backdrop for filming. Wood Veneer Hub also makes some beautiful LED fixtures for the panels in both cold and warm light, so I've installed a set of those at one end to add a great vibe for evening working sessions. Check out my links in the description if you want to learn more. For my video lighting and sound setup, I've been loving these PT4C 4-foot LED tube lights from Amaran. They have so many mounting options, including a vertical tripod stand, and my favourite, these magnetic clips. I love this particular hack. I can extend out the curtain pole that we rigged at one end of the room and attach the light really quickly and easily. How cool is that? Now I'm moving now to all my lights being Amaran or Aperture. The advantage being I can control them all with their very good Sidus app. A quick back tap shortcut on the iPhone jumps me straight to the controls. There you go. More on the rest of my lighting setup in a bit. And hey, if you're enjoying the video, I would love you to subscribe below, join the community, and hit the like button while you're at it. Let's be honest, the desk setup is the heart of many people's build, and I'm feeling pretty happy with my setup at the moment. If you want to know more about some of the other tech and accessories I'm using on my desk, I've created a detailed video on my desk setup, which I'll link in the description below, so you can go look at that after this. But the main headlines, I've got a standing desk to keep healthy. This one's from Madesite, and my main accessories to my M1 Max 14-inch MacBook are the Design View monitor and Halo light bar from BenQ, a desk mat slim and Nest organizer from my pals over at Orbit Key, and whilst I love using different mechanical keyboards, I found I keep coming back to this one, the wired Keychron Q1 in white with some custom keycaps, and my Logitech Lift mouse. I love this thing. It takes a bit of getting used to, but it's great for the wrists. I've also been testing out two amazing desk shelf systems recently. This one is the cockpit setup from Bololo, which features integrated modular items that can be attached and moved. Watch that dedicated desk video if you want to learn more about that. And recently I've also been trialing Ugmonk's Gather system. Ugmonk are an amazing company, and I particularly like this high quality industrial finish to their Gather range, and the materials used to make it are really top drawer. What's really cool is there's kind of magnetic accessories which are really easy to use and attach to each other. This organizer tray is particularly pleasing with a pen holder, carry-all and matching MagSafe charger stand. I've also used their to-do list productivity system analog for over a year now and absolutely love it. It's a great match to the system in white and maple that I've got here, but they do other colorways like walnut and black. And let me know in the comments which of the two systems you prefer. I'd love to get a vote on it. Okay, yes, one of the main items is still missing, an ergonomic chair. I'm not a complete lunatic, but I'm waiting to find a good deal on a Herman Miller sail chair in white and grey. I think it would work really well in the setup, but I need to afford one. I need to save up the pennies, as we say in the UK. The finishing touches for the workspace were all focused on making my regular daily activities as enjoyable and frictionless as possible. So first, I've started work on a new coffee station. I love the process and morning ritual of making a coffee, and so I wanted to invest in a coffee station that added some minimal and calming vibes to the space as well. I'm using the Ode grinder from Fellow. It's a beautiful design. It's focused on grinding for AeroPress pour overs, but not espresso. But that's perfect for me as I use the AeroPress pretty much all the time. The kettle is from Stelton. I love their designs, and I already own an original vacuum jug that I got from an antiques market that I use for a day's drinking water from the kitchen downstairs in the building. Oh, and that lovely mug is from Hasami Porcelain. Now I realised after a few months I needed a couple of essential tools in the office. Since it's an old industrial building, it can get really hot in the summer and a bit too cold in the winter. So I invested in an air purifier from ePure Home, I think that's how you say it, with built-in cooling and heating functions. This is reviewed to be as effective as those beautiful Dyson units, but less than half the price. I've also been using these great tools from Hotto. After buying their electric screwdriver I was so impressed with, I've been trying other items. Their compressed air capsule is a great mini vacuum cleaner that also doubles as a good way to clean your keyboards. You can even inflate things. The tool set though is probably what they are best known for, and what could look like style over substance is actually a super powerful, very well made and great to use drill and tool set. Genuinely. My favourite element in the set is actually the measuring tape, because it has small little details that make the difference, like the fact that it will automatically hold in position as you extend it, and there's a satin finish on it, which means you can draw on it with a pencil, which you can't do on other tapes. For my filming setup, I've built out a couple of mobile video assistants that make YouTube a joy. I'm calling this the Franken rig, inspired by Caleb from DSLR Shooter. I've mounted an Amaran 200X on this newer light stand, and then added a few other additional things to hold the camera. I'll maybe do a separate video on the build one day. Another notable mention is these amazing auto poles from Manfrotto. They clamp to the walls and floors through pressure to create essentially semi-permanent rigs that take up much less space than a stand. It's also the perfect system to add a top-down camera view above my task table to film those tech demos and unboxing videos. I'm also particularly pleased with my bodged mic clamp to the roof with a desk clamp, lighting stand, using the Rode Wireless Go to keep it cableless. And this is what I'm calling the A-roll B-roll trolley. It's a £30 trolley from IKEA, which allows me to keep all my most used filming tools to hand. With an HDMI and USB-C cable ready to plug in to the monitor, I'm also able to use it as either a framing image of my shot on my Fuji camera, or to plug it into my laptop when I want to do Notion tutorials at this filming set. I can just look at it right there. Nice. It has been a privilege to design a space from scratch, and I'm now super excited to continue the journey. As a channel focused on finding the best productivity tools and tech to make life a little easier, building and developing a workspace like this has been a valuable process to discover what works and what doesn't. I'll continue to develop the space over time, honing the zones and functions of the office. If you liked this video, I'd love you to leave a like, definitely subscribe if you haven't yet for some exciting future projects. I also recommend watching this video next for more on the productivity tools I think can make your life better, or find my recent desk setup video here for more of those tech accessories I think you'll love. Thanks for watching, and right now, I'd better get back to creating.